Hi there, happy Monday. Today I am going to talk a little bit more about dining out when you are traveling because I was just traveling this past week and usually I do pretty well and I did fairly well this time, but it was definitely more challenging than normal. So, if you don't know me, I am Crystal Obregon of Crystal Obregon Health and Wellness, and I help women increase their energy so that they can pursue their dreams and live the lifestyle they really want. So this past week I traveled to Toronto for a training and a 2 day training, but it involved a day of travel before and after. And this time it was especially challenging because basically, for one, the hotel where the training was located and where I had my reservation was it didn't really have many food options, which meant that it didn't have its own restaurant, but it did have some kind of packaged meals that you could buy. So I didn't end up doing that, but it was basically almost attached to the airport. It was just a 5 minute tram ride, and so you could also get back to the airport, and there was a hotel, or there was another hotel that was closer to the airport that did have a restaurant, but it's a little bit more challenging than if the restaurant is right there. And then I was also going out with a group of people for dinner, and so there weren't a lot of options really close by. So that was limited. I've been talking about the complete guide to dining out, and I can't find my copy of it. I didn't want to print another one out so that I could show you. But be sure and download that. I'm going to be talking more about meal planning for the rest of the month, but be sure and get that because it really does go through some general tips, and then it also goes through different types of, we'll call them restaurants or eating establishments. So how to eat healthy at a burger place or a sushi restaurant, a Chinese restaurant, a steakhouse, all different, even a fast food joint. I didn't want to put that in there, but sometimes really that's all there is, or a coffee house, sometimes a Starbucks at the airport is all you really have access to. Anyway, so with that, I'm going to share a couple of the tips that I found especially helpful and let you know how I did in this specific situation. So the first thing is, if you can, plan ahead and look at the menu online before you get to whatever restaurant you're planning on going to. So for example, it became clear that we were going to a burger type of place. It was in Canada, a something Jack, not Jack in the Box. It wasn't a fast food place, but it was definitely burgers. And so I decided, I don't eat burgers very often, but I decided to get a burger. And so I knew on the menu. So I decided to get a burger without a bun. So I still had the lettuce and the onions and all that, which is good. And then I had a salad on the side. And honestly, that's enough food, really, for me, especially if I'm not getting a lot of exercise because I'm out of training. So I thought ahead and knew probably I could have gone for the salad and had chicken on it, but so I did cave a little bit. But just knowing what you're going to order ahead of time makes it a little bit more likely that you will stick with your plan. So the second thing is to drink a full glass of water before you go, and then also be sure that you get a full glass of water when you sit down at a table, and that will help you not feel overly hungry. And then, of course, it can be a little bit harder when you're traveling, but if you can try to have a snack before you go as well, because I know I'm the worst when I am feeling super hungry headed to dinner anywhere. I just don't make the best choices. So that's the second one. The first one, plan ahead. The second one, drink some water before you go, and then as soon as you get there. And then my third is to, if your choices are limited, think in terms, this is how I think, especially if I'm traveling by airplane at that point or on layovers, is I order something with protein, and then I also try and order something that has veggies with it, at least a salad. So the protein, because it keeps you hungry for longer if you're doing carbohydrates, often like pasta, simple carbohydrates, you get that sugar crash, basically, if it's simple carbohydrates. And then try and get some veggies, at least a salad. So, for example, I was just having all kinds of delays when I was flying back, and so I only had a moment to grab something to eat at the airport during a layover, and there was a Starbucks, and so I chose to get one of their breakfast sandwich things because I knew that I would get the eggs, and it does come on a bun. I'm not allergic to gluten, but I don't like to eat it because I feel better without it. So I had it, but I just took the top of it off, and so just ate the egg and the bottom. And so no, it wasn't a perfect choice, but it is better than a lot of the other choices that were there. And then when I was on the plane, I made sure, even though I wasn't hungry yet, to order, they had a hummus with veggies thing. And, there could have been a lot more veggies, honestly, but at least it was something that, to fill me up. So, that's it. I'm happy to be home and to get to work today for tomorrow's blog post. So enjoy. Again, this is Crystal at Crystal Obregon Health and Wellness. Be sure if you haven't already to download the complete guide to dining out. It really is helpful because whether you're dining out for a celebration and you want to make sure that that's fun and you do that with intention, or you're dining out because of convenience, then you can really make sure that you do that with intention also, and that you don't completely eat differently than you would at home. And then when you get home, you can just start right back to eating well at home. So have a great rest of your week, and I hope you enjoy the guide, and take care. Bye for now.